An opera singer at the top of his game. You're watching Encore, and that's what's coming up on this week's music show. American superstar tenor Lawrence Brownlee has performed on the world's most prestigious stages, captivating audiences with his beautiful voice. A voice that garnered him the trophy for Male Singer of the Year at the 2017 International Opera Awards. Brownlee is currently in France preparing for his role in Don Pasquale at the Opéra de Paris. Lawrence Brownlee, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're gearing up for the Rossini opera Don Pasquale at the Palais Garnier here in Paris. It's a comic opera about an old bachelor who decides to marry and produce an heir just despite his rebellious, lovesick nephew Ernesto, played by yourself, but trickery ensues. Now, you've performed in Don Pasquale before, but it's a new production for the Paris Opera. What added pressure is there when you're doing a new show?
For me, there's no added pressure. For me, I always think of it as an opportunity to establish something. I've done Don Pasquale many times before, but doing a new production is always fun because you begin to think about the legacy of a piece and how it fits into an opera company. Yes, it's not been done at Paris National Opera before, but hopefully after this production, it'll be done many more times.
Well, you're no stranger to the operas of Rossini and the bel canto works of the 19th century. What do you love about performing this particular repertoire?
Well, I had a teacher early on that told me that it suits my voice and it could show off what my voice is capable of doing. So I always try to bring out my strengths, and the strength of bel canto, which translates as beautiful singing. It talks about, as we say, bells and whistles, what a voice can do, what a voice is capable of, how expressive a voice can be. So I always try to use the tools that I have naturally to express what it is, my God-given talent.
Okay, well, let's see you in action in The Barber of Seville. The Barber of Seville, of course, a Rossini opera. That footage was from the Paris Opera in 2016 when you were last here. Now, your first musical experience came through your family's church when you were growing up.
Yes.
In Ohio. How did you move from gospel singing to opera singing?
It was a long voyage. I started with gospel. My father directed the choir. My mother sang solos. And I had music in me. They told me at an early age. And then when I got into junior high school and high school, I had teachers that told me that there was something specifically good for classical music in my voice. I didn't know anything about classical music, but those people began to expose me to classical singing, to opera. And it was at that time that the three tenors, Pavarotti, Domingo, and Carreras, they were having that big world tour of the three tenors. And so I became very interested in classical music. And when people told me I had this unique ability, I thought I would pursue it. And so I had some great opportunities, and here I am.
Are there any similarities in your approach to both styles of music? Did you sort of transfer those skills from one to the other?
The interesting thing about gospel music is very melismatic, it's very charismatic, and it allows for expressivity. So when you think about the bel canto genre of classical music, it gives you this opportunity to express in a stylistic way with a lot of moving fast, high-held notes. And so I think that those are some of the parallels in the two styles.
Okay. Now, opera is not known for, let's be honest, shining a spotlight on people of color. It's still quite rare to see black performers or Asian performers, etc., on stage. How can we drive change in this area and encourage more ethnic diversity in opera?
Well, I am a part of an opera company called Opera Philadelphia, and one of its initiatives is to try to embrace people of different backgrounds to come into the opera and the classical music realm. We say that this art is for everyone. Give people the opportunity and let them know they're invited, and then let the art speak for itself. So if people see me on stage trying to do as well as I can, doing a good job, I think they'll be interested because they see someone that looks like them on the stage being successful performing.
And opera is also seen as an elitist pastime. How can we make it more accessible to a wider audience or even a younger generation?
I think part of the responsibility is for us as artists to be on the front line, really telling people that it's not for just the elite. It's for everyone. You know, my parents were just middle-class people, and they were not privileged people per se, but I was exposed to it, thankfully, and so because of it, I got a chance to know what classical music is, and it is what my life is.
Now, you recently sung Cycles of My Being, a new work by composer Tishon Sori and poet Terence Hayes, and it explores what it means to be an African-American man living in the United States today. It was partly inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. What were you hoping to achieve by participating in this?
Well, I was hoping that the conversation about the treatment of black people would continue. Of course, as an African-American man, I face a different reality than people that look different than me, that have blonde hair and blue eyes. And so I know my reality is going to be different every day. So what I wanted to do is be able to use my art as a platform to talk about something that's close to my heart. And so that was the beginning of the cycle.
And as I understood, it was a very successful run, a very successful show.
It went well, thank you.
Okay, well, let's take a quick look at the week's music news now. Brit rockers Snow Patrol are back with their first album in 7 years. Wildness marks a comeback for the band's frontman Gary Lightbody, who recently opened up about his battle with depression. He sings of isolation, addiction, and dealing with his demons, but despite the heavy subject matter, the singer-songwriter says the new record is hopeful. Check out Snow Patrol's latest single, Empress.
You can see for what seems miles, because in your heart, you know they feel like you do. Sound, pulse, and volume, hands just reaching out for hands. This is almost overload. I said almost overload.
Next, American singer-songwriter Natalie Prass says her new record is inspired by the divisive political climate in the US. The future and the past is optimistic, awash in uplifting tunes with an old-school vibe and lush harmonies. She says her sunny grooves have a deeper message if you scratch the surface. Take a listen to Natalie Prass explaining how the album's title came about.
Symbolizes me as an artist, but then it also reflects how I feel like we are in the States feeling, like we're all looking to the past to try to figure out how we're in the situation we're in now and how it's going to affect our future. And since this is a very political album, I just decided it fit well with everything.
Sorry, I couldn't help but have a little sing-along. Lawrence, apparently when you're not on the opera stage, you're a keen salsa dancer and salsa DJ. I read that somewhere. What other music do you listen to when you need a break from opera, from classical music, or perhaps to get you sort of pumped up for a show?
I love salsa. That's one of my great loves. And I've gone in Paris a few times already.
To salsa clubs?
Yeah,
and that kind of
I go to O'Sullivan's. There's a place called Agua that I go, and so I love to dance, and I have many friends here. But I listen to gospel, I listen to some R&B, hip hop, many different styles. I feel like I'm a musician that, of course, I sing classical music, but I have a great appreciation for many different styles of music.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, we're wrapping up the show with Colombian reggaeton superstar J Balvin, who returns with his new album, Vibras. The record features last year's mega hit and song of the summer, Mi Gente, but we'll leave you with a clip of the chart topper's latest single, Ambiente. Thanks again to our guest, Lawrence Brownlee. Thank you so much for being here. He is appearing in Don Pasquale at the Opéra de Paris from the 9th of June until the 12th of July. Catch up with past music shows on our website and stay in touch on social media. Keep it right here on France 24.
Tengo la necesidad de saber lo que piensas cuando piensas en mí. En la intimidad me convence de que no me arrepienta de las cosas que me hace a mí. Y su pelo que le llega al suelo, una mirada que no refleja miedo, un deseo que me tiene preso. Le quiero mentir pero le soy sincero.